Hey guys, Adam aka askcsradical here. Apologies for the lack of riveting Division 2 content that you guys are accustomed to when it comes to COVID videos. This being the third one that I've done, but this one requires a lot more concentration. I do not need to spend 10 to 15 minutes here tripping over my words and being distracted by not trying to die in a video game. This is a much more serious conversation that needs to be had now because this is no longer a okay, things are getting a little bit crazy or what. No, this is now straight into I'm really fucking pissed off. So, if there's one thing that, not even a month into this thing being a full month for us here, I'm here in Canada, we haven't really gotten the gist of this. This is maybe only about 3 weeks. I have really not been in the thick of this, and it's now just starting. And I know that by the end of this, I'm going to hate a lot of people. I'm going to hate humanity as a whole because what I am seeing here and things that I've seen happen in other parts of the world earlier when it was in the real peak point in other places and continues to be in the peak point in other places for some. The entitlement, the downright disregard for other people's lives, including the ones of those who are close to them, is to the point now that I am tired of seeing it. I am tired of hearing about it. I am tired of listening to it, watching it, reading about it. If you are in North America specifically, because this is where I'm paying a little more attention to. I don't know the gist of what's going on still in China, in Japan, in Australia, in Europe, in Africa, anywhere. But I have a pretty good idea now what's going on here in Canada and a little bit of what's going on in the States. And I think it's pretty obvious now, especially if you're in the United States right now, that shit's getting real. There are over 100,000 cases. I think we may be hitting 150,000 now in the States. Over about half of them, I should say, are in one state. They're in New York. Can you imagine what it's going to be like if 70,000 cases suddenly pop up in Chicago, in Atlanta, LA, name whatever city you want, Dallas? It doesn't make a difference. It's all the same at this point. It's bad. It is worse than people seem to ever think it was going to be. Myself included, I did not realize just how bad it was until, obviously, it got to the point that it is. But now that we are 3 weeks in, and this goes specifically to Canadians where I'm talking more of because this is where I hear specific cases locally, stuff going on. This is what I see. It's time to stop. Stop being selfish and stay the fuck home. I am seeing such gross amounts of entitlement. Whether it's people upset that certain things aren't open for them, whether it's people who are upset because they're being told that they can't do all the things that they are accustomed to, because it doesn't bode well for us as a society because we are being interrupted ever so slightly. We're not even in the major phases yet. We're just being asked to not go out in the public square in large gatherings. That's all we've really been told to do, guys. At this point, we've been told to stay home if we can, and if we're sick, to isolate. That's not that hard. They're not demanding that you don't leave your house. They're saying avoid mass gatherings, stop being in public places like parks, where you can be in the vicinity of many people. Stop having massive get-togethers like the idiots out there in Kentucky that had a coronavirus party and one of them tested positive. This is the time for you to act like an actual adult and do what you're fucking told. We're not being demanded to stay home, but if we keep this shit up the way that we're going to be. Do you want to have to spend the next 2 weeks, maybe a month, on a strict schedule? You cannot leave your house. Straight up, you cannot leave. Do you want that? If you do, well then I guess no harm, no foul. But if you don't, then stay the fuck home. It's not that difficult. We are in an age of things like the internet, of Netflix, all these streaming capabilities that we have. We have infinite supplies of games, of music, of films, of television shows. Hell, if you're so sad that you can't see your friends, there's these things we have called, I don't know, cell phones. You can call anybody at any time. For most phones these days, you can capture video and stream that. Skype, Zoom, Facebook, whatever you want. All those options are available. You do not need to go see people in person. Now is not the time. We're past the point now of needing to tell people to stop going on trips. I think we finally, mostly accomplished that. Now we need to go into the next step, which is to get people to stop leaving their house for nothing, for no reason. Just to go into the park and experience the things that normal life is. I'm sorry to tell you this, but normal life is over right now. It is postponed. For me, I'm 32 years old. This is the first time that normal life has been affected for me. And the fact that I'm handling it, the fact that I'm staying level-headed, I don't know whether to take this as a sign of me handling things better than most, or to take it as a sign that we as a human race, we may have some extra calling we need to do. Because clearly, we have a lot of people out there that can't take this seriously. We have a lot of people that are so self-centered that they can't temporarily drop a few things that they do normally. Do you really need to go to the park? Do you really need to have a party with all your friends? Do you really need to do all these things that we're being told not to do? Do you really need to? Do you really? Or are you just being a self-centered prick? Stop gathering in public places unless you need to. If it's things like going to the store, that's one thing. But if you're going to go to a public park, skating rink, soccer field, basketball court, whatever it may be. We've had stories of people in Toronto jumping fences and barriers to get into soccer fields, when everything has been shut down and closed to show that you are not supposed to be there, and people are still doing it. Like I said, no one's demanding you to leave your house, or no one's demanding, to not leave your house. But we keep this shit up, I give it a week. By the time that it is Monday next week, as I'm recording this on the 30th of March, should be out the same day this video. On the 6th of April, I guarantee you, at the rate that we're going, we are going to be told to not leave our house unless we are going to work, and that's it. That's it. Because if we can't be counted on as responsible adults to do the right thing, then they will make that decision for us. And they will not hesitate to do so, because it will not help our healthcare system, it will not help our economic system if we cannot supply the medical needs that we have and the medical needs that we need for the people that are infected. I understand. This isn't easy. For me, it's a lot easier than I think it is for some, because not that I'm a hermit, but staying home isn't the hardest thing for me to do. I'm a gamer. I watch a lot of anime. I can keep myself busy. It's not that difficult. I'm not going out. The only things I'm doing is going to work, going home, filling up gas in my car if I need to, and then going to the grocery store twice a week. That's all I'm doing. Nothing else. I get it. For some of you, it's different. For some of you, it is a toll that it's going to take on your psyche to do this. But tough shit. This isn't a maybe anymore. It's already here and it's getting worse. So we need to start moving. And it isn't just grown adults. It's children too. And I get this, parents. I'm sure it's very difficult to have to explain to your child why they can't go outside, why they can't go play with their friends, why they aren't going to school. I get this. But you need to do your job as a parent and explain that to them. And if they don't listen, then you have to put your foot down. Do your fucking job as a parent. And if you don't like that, you shouldn't have had a child. You knew going in that you were going to have to take some serious responsibilities. You have to be prepared for any situation. All of us need to be prepared for any situation. But that goes twofold for parents because now you have children who don't understand these things. Because it's hard enough seeing grown adults making stupid decisions like they're doing now. You have kids out there that literally have no care in the world because they go with reckless abandon because they don't know any better. It's different from the random dude that I saw yesterday when I was coming back from grocery shopping on a swing set. And this was clearly a man, either my age or older, swinging on a swing set, alone. These things that were supposed to be quartered off so that kids don't go on. And here's a grown-ass man swinging on a swing set. It's obvious that we as adults are not being counted on to be responsible. So we certainly can't count on kids to do so. So that's why it's the parents' job to deal with that. Sorry that we can't help you, but you need to figure it out. And last but not least, the thing that is bugging me the most, especially coming from somebody that is still at work, that is unaffected financially from this, at least at this junction. As far as I know, I'll be there as long as I'm healthy. That's what I'm led to believe. If you are in this scenario as well, pay your fucking bills. I listened to a radio station on the way to the grocery store and back yesterday. It was a call-in show for people who had questions about COVID-19, whether it was about the virus itself, whether it was about financial stuff. In a span of 15 minutes, there were 3 callers. I think it was out of like 5 or 6 that were each asking basically the same question, but different ways of getting to it. What can I say to my landlord so I don't have to pay rent? That was the question. It's not, what should I do financially to prepare for if I get laid off, for if I can't make rent? The question really, when it comes down to it, is I'm still making perfectly the same amount of money that I've always been making, but I want an excuse not to pay rent so I can hoard this money. It's not that difficult, guys. If you can pay it, pay it. It's not that hard. I'm sorry that you are a little bit annoyed that there are going to be people out there that are not going to be making rent and still being allowed to stay in their homes, their apartments, whatever. But those people are going to have to pay it back at some point. It's not like they'll never have to pay this money. They will eventually have to pay it back. It just may be later down the line. It's not right now. But you are capable of doing it right now. So do it. There's no excuse for you not to. And the idea that someone would believe that they can and they want to get away from making this payment goes back to what I said from the very beginning, the entitlement. You don't deserve anything. We've had it so good for so long. I'm 32 years old. Apart from 9/11, which didn't directly affect me because obviously being in Canada and being in a smaller town, it's not like I was in Toronto where I had to worry about airports shutting down and certain things shutting down. I didn't have to worry about it. All I did was go home early from school. That was it. That's the most adversity I've ever felt when it comes to daily life. And in the last 3 weeks, specifically the last 2, because that's when things have really picked up, I know that it's hard. It's very strange to be living in a world right now where rush hour traffic is non-existent, where so many places are closed, where I'm not seeing friends. Every time I record a VCR podcast with Vishal and Chris, we go to the bar afterwards. We've now done 2 podcasts where that hasn't happened. It's very strange. But it's going to continue to be like that because we're grown adults and we understand this. I've done 2 podcasts remotely. Just yesterday, I had a Google Hangout session with friends. And we played a couple of Jackbox games while, seeing each other's video through Google Hangouts, and that was our conversation. The only people that I will ever allow to have some amount of forgiveness for this, for the entitlement that they have, are children. People as old as high schoolers is as far as I'm willing to go. Because to a child, it must feel like it's getting grounded for everything. That's a terrible feeling as a kid. But for anybody over the age of 20 especially, sorry to tell you this, but grow the fuck up. We're not asking you to stop everything you do, to stop living every aspect of your life that you're comfortable with. What we're doing is asking you to temporarily put some of it away for a time being. If this was 100 years ago, I cannot imagine what the Spanish flu would have been like living in that, because all this technology didn't exist. So literally staying home, and you didn't have a lot to do. But in this day and age, there is no short supply of entertainment. There is no excuse for people who say, I'm bored. There are so many things we can be doing now. At the end of the day, guys, this may go. Some people are projecting this all the way to July. It's not even April yet. Get your shit together, because this is not going to be a quick ride. A lot of people seem to assume that this will be done in a couple more weeks. It won't. Some people are assuming that this might be done in a month. I don't think it will. Some people think that this might be over by the time the summer starts. I think it's a coin toss at this point, and the odds continue to go down as this goes forward, because we are not doing the right things to curb this virus as best we can. In my opinion, we'll be lucky if this ends during the summer. For all we know, this thing might relapse. It might come back in another wave. We might be doing this process all over again. And we don't know how long a vaccine's going to take. Most people will tell you, it usually takes 12 months. First case that we knew about started in November. So take that we may not see a vaccine fully ready till maybe December. Maybe even next year. You think about that for a moment. That is a long time that we have to worry about being infected again and again, because this virus, as we have seen now, is very dangerous of spreading. So just because we get rid of one wave does not mean it's over. All it takes is for one person to get it. And if they keep going around to people, then we start this process all over again. It may die down. I don't know if it goes away. But at the very least, we can curb it as best we can. And right now, from what I see, we might be at best halfway there. We have a long way to go. Stop being selfish. Think about it for one moment. You may be fine. You may not get it. Or you may get it and not show many symptoms. But a relative may get it from you and die. A friend may get it from you and die. A coworker may get it from you and die. People that you know and love could be dead because of you. Do you actually want that? And if somehow that answer is yes, I don't know what to do with that. Other than, I hope that you can make it through so that you can see the damage that's been caused by it. I'm fortunate at this point that no one that I know has even been infected, and certainly nobody has died from it. And by the time this is over, bet your ass that I am not going to be a reason that anybody that I know dies from this virus. Not a goddamn chance I'm going to be part of that. So do your part too, and avoid doing the same thing. Be the better person, and stay home if you can. If you gotta go to work, you gotta go to work. If you need to pick up groceries because you're out of food, then do it. But there's no reason to go to any public place, go visit friends, hell, even go visit relatives. You have a cell phone. Most of us have laptops or computers with web cameras of some sort. It's almost every single one of us should have a way to communicate with people without leaving your house. Use it. And for God's sakes, guys, think about somebody else for once. Let's actually make it look like that we as a human species are savable. Because right now, it's starting to look like we're not.